Today we are going to create a generative harmonizer. Clicking this one button in my max patch doesn't only play this audio file, but also pitch shifts it up and down by a random amount of semitones. This is a fairly simple idea, but can result in a lot of cool, unexpected harmonies. Furthermore, you can even customize this in order to generate very specific harmonies based on a list or a collection of harmonic scales and chords. A very simple algorithm, as I have said, but it is very tricky to implement. So let's see how this is done. Alright, if I want to create a harmonizer effect or any kind of audio effect really, I need to have an audio source, a sound source, and a way to play that sound. I'm going to start by using the audio tab of my Macs to choose one of the built-in audio samples, such as this cello F2. Beautiful sound. I can click and drag this on my unlocked Max patch, and here it is in the form of a playlist tilde object. Then all I need to do is to create a live.gain object to change the gain or the volume of the sound, and then finally use the easy.dag tilde in order to play the resulting sound through my speakers, through my ears, and ideally through my brain. I just need to make sure that this easy.dag tilde is turned on, so the audio in my patch is working, and then I can click this play button. Very simple. To do this through an actual button or a message box instead of the interface of this object itself, I can press M to make a message box and then press 1 to make a message box containing the message 1 and then connect it to my playlist tilde object. Then I can simply click this message or trigger this message to play this sound. So far so good. How are we going to turn this into a harmonizer? Well, I need to change the pitch of the sound, right? I need to transpose it or change the pitch content of it in some way, and there are a few ways we can do this in Max, going from very simple to very complicated, and I think the most straightforward way of doing this is through the pitchshift tilde object, which does ATX-based real-time pitch shifting, and real-time pitch shifting is pretty much what we need. So the pitchshift tilde object needs to know a few things. It needs to know how many channels we have, which in this case, we are working mono, but maybe you can do a stereo pitch shift effect if you want. And then we need to, let's see, give it a few attributes. For example, the quality, well, I will set it to best. You can look at the reference and the help file to see which other qualities are available, and depending on the strength of your computer and how complicated your patch is, you can choose different qualities or different quality settings. Then I'm going to change the pitch shift cent attribute, right? This is pitch shifting in cents. This is a number where 100 means 1 semitone up, minus 100 means 1 semitone down, and so on. Right, these can be integer numbers or float numbers. And since I am trying to keep things, let's say, harmonic, let's add 500, right? Let's tune this by 500 cents or 5 semitones, which would be, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a perfect fourth up. So if I have these attributes, I can simply send, let's see, my audio signal to pitch shift, and the result is going to come out from its outlet, of course. Locking this patch, triggering the sound again. Beautiful, a perfect fourth higher. Again, I can change this argument to minus 500 to tune it instead lower. And honestly, it doesn't sound that bad. So in an ideal world, I would be able to do something very simple where I take, let's say, this pitch shift, right, and then copy it, and then make the left one indeed shifted 500 cents down, and the right one shifted 500 cents up. Right, and then I would, for example, create more live.gain so that each instance of my harmonizer, each voice of my harmonizer, in fact has an individual gain control, so I can do some fine tuning. Right, so the sound would go through, but it would also be pitched down and it would also be pitched up, and ideally this would sound amazing, but we are going to run into a problem when I try to play it like this, which is latency. These algorithms take a bit of time, a bit of samples, a few milliseconds to work. And if I play the audio on its own, it's going to sound a bit earlier than the pitch shifted version. And if we are working with samples especially, this is not going to sound so nice. If we are working with actual real-time sound, it's going to sound even stranger, even a bit worse. So what we can do is to figure out how much this latency actually is, and then to delay our dry actual sound by that amount to make sure that the output is completely uniform. So this is what the second outlet of pitch shift is for. It's going to report latency through a message. However, it's not going to work on its own, right? We have to turn on or enable a specific attribute called report latency in our pitch shift objects for the latency, well, to be reported, right? So I'm going to add this at report latency and I set it to 1, and then boom, it tells us latency is 4096 watts, samples, milliseconds, seconds, centuries, eggs, I don't know. Well, actually I do know, but you might have to look at the reference. Or it's one of those things where it doesn't tell you exactly what it's working on or which units it's using, but I can tell you that this latency is in samples, right? So for both of these algorithms, the latency is 4096 samples. All right, so we just need to delay our main signal by 4096 samples in order for this sound output to be completely uniform. A nice way to do this, a simple way to do this, is to use the delay tilde object. Normally we would use tap in, tap out, or actually write things into buffers ourselves. But in this specific case, delay tilde already works with samples. So I just need to give it an initial maximum delay, and let's make it, I don't know, 10,000. Right? And then let's make sure that the number 4096 or whatever any of these latency values are is sent into the second inlet of delay tilde. How we can do this is to use the route object with the argument latency. And what this does is to look for a message that starts with latency and then send out whatever comes after, right? So this is simply going to send us the value 4096 when I either start the patch, restart the patch, or turn the audio off and on. And this number is pretty much what we need to send here to the second inlet of delay. All right, so again, turn this off, turn this on, and now ideally we are going to hear these sounds together. Beautiful. Very literally music to my ears. And now we can make this generative, right? It would be very cool if there's a generative aspect to it, that if there is a button, let's see, there's a nice button here that is a bit large because it's important, that when I click on it, I don't only trigger the sounds, but also randomly choose an amount of semitones to shift this up and an amount of semitones to shift this down. Now, I can use random for this, right? I can create random, the object random, and then give it the attribute range and type in something like, well, this can be shifted from 300 to 10,000, or 300 to 1,000 cents, right? But then I would get all these strange tunings, all these strange pitch shifts, right? Like 307 cents up, or 316 cents up, or 724 cents up. But I want to do this in semitones, right? I want this to be either 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, or 900, or even 1,000. So how do I do this? Well, I can do this little trick where I type in 3 and 10, or 3 to 10 as my range instead of 300 and 1,000. And then I can take the result and I can multiply it by 100. Right, so this ensures that I'm just going to get 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, not 1,000 because this 10 is not inclusive. Right? I can click this as long as I want. I'm always going to get multiples of 100 here. All right, and then I can create a message box that says pitch shift send spacebar $1. And this is going to make sure that this $1 is going to be replaced by whatever is the input to this message box, right? So this will be, for example, pitch shift send 700, replacing this attribute on the pitch shift tilde object. Oof, very good. All right, now I can copy all of this and I can change the range for the left-hand side, for the pitch shift downside, to something like, I don't know, -4 and -8. Right, and now I'm going to get values like -600, -800, -700. Yeah, minus, I don't know, can we get 500? Probably -500 and so on, which goes into here. And then I'm just going to make sure that my main button triggers all of these all together. And this on its own should result in some generative harmonizer sounds. Beautiful. We can even go higher or lower, right? What if I make this 4 to -14 and this 3 to 20? It's probably going to be a bit too high, but let's see. Nice. And we can try this with different samples, right? So what if I use this vibe sample, for example? I'm getting all these generated vibes, bell-like chords. I can even use something a bit stranger like the Eroica sample. I'm not sure if Beethoven would have liked that though, or we can actually take a monophonic instrument like the duduk.aif and create this beautiful sound. Now, one thing to watch out for is the fact that all these three sounds are being added together. So we are actually kind of clipping the final results, right? So what we should be doing is, after changing the gain of these voices individually, create one more live.gain and then plug everything into that live gain. There we go. Now we can turn the volume of the final result a bit lower and then click on this button once again. Beautiful. And there we go. It's a one-button generative harmonizer. And you can create a lot of cool things with this, as you usually are able to, right? You can, for example, find some kind of algorithm that is not just random to determine the pitch shift up and down. You can try to come up with a library or a collection of different chords you can work with. You can try to trigger this through some other kind of interface, some instrument, a live audio signal, even some kind of motion detection could be used to trigger these. And finally, you can even try to figure out how to use different sound sources, such as a buffer playback, or even live sound as a part of this algorithm. In any case, I hope you make a lot of cool music and cool sounds with this, and as always, thank you for watching.